Hello. Okay, so we are continuing Act 2, Scene 2 of Hamlet. And we had just gotten done with Hamlet and Polonius's conversation where Hamlet's, kind of acting like he doesn't really recognize him very well, but he's getting in a lot of kind of barbed things about Polonius. And now we have his two old friends, Guildenstern and Rosencrantz, that are about to enter the scene. And remember, these two guys have been brought in by King Claudius and Queen Gertrude, and the king and queen want them to spy on Hamlet, figure out what's wrong with him, and then report back. Hamlet basically has all sorts of people that are all about trying to figure out what's wrong with him. Can I just say again, his dad died 2 months ago. His mom remarried his uncle, and then he found out from his dad's ghost that his uncle killed him. So I'm not really sure he's acting strange at all considering what's going on. Really too bad people can't take that into consideration. Okay, so we'll continue with that scene.
You go to seek the Lord Hamlet? There he is. God save you, sir.
My honored lord!
My most dear lord!
My excellent good friends, how dost thou, Guildenstern? Ah, Rosencrantz, good lads, how do you both?
As the indifferent children of the earth.
Happy in that we are not over happy. On Fortune's cap, we are not the very button.
Nor the soles of her shoe?
Neither, my lord.
Then you live about her waist, or in the middle of her favors?
Faith her privates we.
Oh, in the secret parts of Fortune? Oh, most true, she is a strumpet. What news?
None, my lord, but that the world's grown honest.
Then is doomsday near. But your news is not true. Let me question more in particular. What have you, my good friends, deserved at the hands of Fortune that she sends you to prison hither?
Prison, my lord?
Denmark's a prison.
Then is the world one?
A goodly one, in which there are many confines, wards, and dungeons, Denmark being one of the worst.
We think not so, my lord.
Why then, 'tis none to you, for there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me, it is a prison.
Why then, your ambition makes it one. 'Tis too narrow for your mind.
Oh, God. I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams.
Which dreams indeed are ambition. For the very substance of the ambitious is merely the shadow of a dream.
The dream itself is but a shadow.
Truly, and I hold ambition of so airy and light a quality that it is but a shadow's shadow.
Then are our beggars' bodies and our monarchs and outstretched heroes the beggars' shadows. Oh, shall we to the court? For by my fay I cannot reason.
We'll wait upon you.
No such matter. I will not sort you with the rest of my servants, for to speak to you like an honest man, I am most dreadfully attended. But in the beaten way of friendship, what make you at Elsinore?
To visit you, my lord. No other occasion?
Beggar that I am even poor in thanks, but I thank you, and sure, dear friends, my thanks are too dear a halfpenny. Were you not sent for? Is it your own inclining? Is it a free visitation? Come, deal justly with me. Come, nay, speak.
What should we say, my lord?
Anything but to the purpose. You were sent for. And there is a kind of confession in your looks which your modesties have not craft enough to color. I know the good king and queen have sent for you.
To what end, my lord?
That you must teach me, but let me conjure you by the rights of our fellowship, by the consonancy of our youth, by the obligation of our ever-preserved love, and by what more dear a better proposer can charge you withal, be even and direct with me, whether you were sent for or no.
What say you?
Nay, then I have an eye of you. If you love me, hold not off.
My lord, we were sent for.
I will tell you why. So shall my anticipation prevent your discovery, and your secrecy to the king and queen moult no feather. I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, forgone all custom of exercises, and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory, This most excellent canopy, the air, look you. This brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof fretted with golden fire, why, it appeareth nothing to me but a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god, the beauty of the world, the paragon of animals, and yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me. No, nor woman neither, though by your smiling you seem to say so.
My lord, there was no such stuff in my thoughts.
Why did you laugh then when I said man delights not me?
To think, my lord, if you delight not in man, what Lenten entertainment the players shall receive from you. We coted them on the way, and hither are they coming to offer you service.
He that plays the king shall be welcome. His majesty shall have tribute on me. The adventurous knight shall use his foil and target. The lover shall not sigh gratis. The humorous man shall end his part in peace. The clown shall make those laugh whose lungs are tickle of the seer. And the lady shall say her mind freely, or the blank verse shall halt for it. What players are they?
Even those you are wont to take such delight in. The tragedians of the city.
How?
Okay, so let's pause for a second. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out a way to get this where you can actually see my face whenever I'm talking. The light is just a little bit crazy right now. Okay, so, let me try to, oh, there we go. Now I can see again. Okay, so anyway, Hamlet is talking to these old friends of his, Guildenstern and Rosencrantz, and he knows that they have been called in by his mother and his uncle, and that they're there basically to spy on him. He knows all of that. He is not stupid. He confronts them about it, and they're like, yeah, we were summoned here. They finally kind of decide to be honest. They weren't going to. They weren't really going to talk about that, but they do at some point figure out that it's in their best interest to be honest with their friend. Okay, and then they mention, you know, and yeah, they are trying to be kind of funny and like, haha, he doesn't like guys, like he likes girls, chee-hee. He's not really in a joking mood. Hamlet has been morose. He's been melancholy. He's been entirely upset recently. So this is just absurd. Have you ever been in like a really bad mood and somebody that you is maybe a friend of yours, they're trying to joke with you? And you're just not having it because you aren't in a joking mood. There are times to joke and there are times not to. That's where Hamlet's at. So he's really not having it with these friends. So they mention that there are some players coming in, which I told you previously at the beginning of the scene that we were going to see some players. So let's see what happens with them.
Chances it they travel. Their residence, both in reputation and profit, was better both ways.
I think their inhibition comes by the means of the late innovation.
Do they hold the same estimation they did when I was in the city? Are they so followed?
No, indeed are they not.
How comes it? Do they grow rusty?
Nay, their endeavor keeps in the wonted pace. But there is, sir, an aerie of children, little Iases, that cry out on the top of question and are most tyrannically clapped for it. These are now the fashion, and so berattle the common stages, so they call them, that many, wearing rapiers, are afraid of goose quills and dare scarce come thither.
What? Are they children? Who maintains them? How are they escoted? Will they pursue the quality no longer than they can sing? Or will they not say afterwards, if they should grow themselves to common players, as it is most like if their means are no better, their writers do them wrong to make them exclaim against their own succession?
Faith, there has been much to do on both sides, and the nation holds it no sin to tar them to controversy, and there was for a while no money bid for argument unless the poet and the player went to cuffs in the question.
Is't possible?
Oh, there has been much throwing about of brains.
Do the boys carry it away?
Aye, that they do, my lord. Hercules and his load, too.
It is not very strange, for my uncle is king of Denmark, and those that would make mouths at him while my father lived give 20, 40, 50, 100 ducats apiece for his picture in little. Sblood. There is something in this more than natural if philosophy could find it out.
There are the players.
Gentlemen, you are welcome to Elsinore. Your hands come then. The appurtenance of welcome is fashion and ceremony. Let me comply with you in this garb, lest my extent to the players, which I tell you must show fairly outwards, should more appear like entertainment than yours. You are welcome. But my uncle father and aunt mother are deceived.
In what, my dear lord?
I am but mad north-northwest. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw.
He
Well, be
just
with
said
you,
my,
gentlemen.
Hark you, Gil...
he just said my uncle father and my mother aunt. Oh my gosh. I love that. Okay, so again, you know, Shakespeare is kind of mocking this whole situation. Again, I'm trying to work with the crazy afternoon light. May end up having to go to a different part of the house or something. Crazy window. Okay, so all of that's pretty funny. I love the way that Shakespeare just calls this what it is and kind of lets us understand how ticked off Hamlet is with this situation. Okay, so these players are coming in and he's going to listen to what's going on.
Guildenstern, and you too, at each ear a hearer. That great baby you see there is not yet out of his swaddling clouts.
Happily he is the second time come to them, for they say an old man is twice a child.
I will prophesy he comes to tell me of the players. Mark it. You say right, sir, a Monday morning? 'Twas then indeed.
My lord, I have news to tell you.
My lord, I have news to tell you. When Rossius was an actor in Rome...
The actors are come hither, my lord.
Buzz, buzz!
Upon my honor.
Then came each actor on his ass.
The best actors in the world, either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral, comical, historical, pastoral, tragical, historical, tragical, comical, historical, pastoral, scene indivisible, or poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy, nor Plautus too light, for the law of wit and the liberty, these are the only men.
Oh, Jephthah, judge of Israel, what a treasure hadst thou.
What a treasure had he, my lord?
Why, one fair daughter, and no more, the which he loved passing well.
Still on my daughter.
Am I not i' the right, old Jephthah?
If you call me Jephthah, my lord, I have a daughter that I love passing well.
Nay, that follows not.
What follows then, my lord?
Why, as by lot, God wot. And then, you know, it came to pass, as most like it was. The first row of the pious chanson will show you more, for look where my abridgment comes. You
players.
are welcome, masters, welcome all. Oh, I am glad to see thee well. Welcome, good friends. Oh, my old friend.
Okay, let me just pause us for a second to kind of take notice of what this like persona that Hamlet's putting on here. Remember, Hamlet has been like in the depths of despair for a bit now, okay? He's trying to figure out, did his uncle kill his dad? He knows that he has spies all around. People are telling his uncle and his mom like what he's doing, what he's been up to. He's also trying to get to the bottom of the mystery. So all of that. Also his love life, the Ophelia situation not going well. There's just a lot of stuff going on for poor Hamlet. Well, then Polonius comes in here, and Hamlet says, like, he's going to tell me about the players. And so Hamlet is just playing with him. Whenever Polonius comes in and is like, my lord, I have news for you. He's like, my lord, I have news to tell you. Oh my gosh. Like, he's just being entirely fake because he sees Polonius as entirely fake. And he's actually pretty funny. And then he's, calling him the wrong names. He's just saying all sorts of crazy stuff. He's acting all kind of like happy, too merry. All of this would seem really mad compared to how he has been of late. Okay?
Why, thy face is valanced since I saw thee last. Comest thou to beard me in Denmark? What, my young lady and mistress? By your ladyship is nearer to heaven than when I saw you last, by the altitude of a chopin. Pray God your voice, like a piece of uncurrent gold, be not cracked within the ring. Masters, you are all welcome. We'll lean to it like French falconers, fly at anything we see. We'll have a speech straight. Come, give us a taste of your quality. Come, passionate speech.
What speech, my good lord?
I heard thee speak me a speech once, but it was never acted, or if it was, not above once, for the play I remember pleased not the million, 'twas caviary to the general, but it was, as I received it, and others whose judgments in such matters cried in the top of mine, an excellent play, well digested in the scenes, set down with as much modesty as cunning. I remember one said there were no salads in the lines to make the matter savory, nor no matter in the phrase that might indict the author of affection, but called it an honest method, as wholesome as sweet, and by very much more handsome than fine. One speech in't I chiefly loved, 'twas Aeneas' tale to Dido, and thereabout of it especially when he speaks of Priam's slaughter. If it live in your memory, begin at this line. No, let me see. The rugged Pyrrhus, like the Hyrcanian beast. 'Tis not so, it begins with Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus, he whose sable arms, black as his purpose, did the night resemble when he lay couched in the ominous horse, hath now this dread and black complexion smeared with heraldry more dismal, head to foot. Now is he total ghouls, horridly tricked with blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, baked and impasted with the parching streets that lend a tyrannous and a damned light to their lord's murder, roasted in wrath and fire, and thus o'ersized with coagulate gore, with eyes like carbuncles, the hellish Pyrrhus, old grandsire Priam, seeks. So proceed you.
For God, my lord, well spoken, with good accent and good discretion.
Anon he finds him striking too short at Greeks. His antique sword, rebellious to his arm, lies where it falls, repugnant to command. Unequal matched, Pyrrhus at Priam drives. In rage strikes wide, but with the whiff and wind of his fell sword, the unnerved father falls. Then senseless Ilium, seeming to feel this blow, with flaming top stoops to his base, and with a hideous crash takes prisoner Pyrrhus' ear. For lo, his sword, which was declining on the milky head of reverend Priam, seemed in there to stick. So as a painted tyrant, Pyrrhus stood, and like a neutral to his will and matter did nothing. But as we often see against some storm, a silence in the heavens. The rack stands still, the bold winds speechless, and the orb below as hush as death. Anon the dreadful thunder doth rend the region, so after Pyrrhus' pause, aroused vengeance sets him new a work. And never did the Cyclops' hammers fall on Mars's armor, forged for proof etern, with less remorse than Pyrrhus' bleeding sword now falls on Priam. Out, out, thou strumpet fortune. All you gods, in general synod, take away her power. Break all the spokes and fellies from her wheel, and bowl the round nave down the hill of heaven, as low as to the fiends.
This is too long. It shall to the barbers with your beard. Prithee, say on. He's for a jig or a tale of bawdry, or he sleeps. Say on. Come to Hecuba.
But who?
Okay, so just wanted to pause for a second and make a couple of notes. So everything that Hamlet is pretty well read. Like, he understands a lot of things about what's going on. Whenever he was talking to Polonius and he was talking to him about Jephthah, he was calling him Jephthah, and he was talking about Jephthah's daughter. Whenever he was saying that, if you remember, this is a biblical allusion. And that story in the Bible, Jephthah actually, they're going out to war, and he makes like a vow to God that whatever comes out of his house, whenever he gets home, he'll sacrifice that to God for the victory. Well, they win. And whenever he gets home, his daughter comes out of the house. So Hamlet, in mentioning that and calling Polonius Jephthah, is actually kind of talking about how he's sacrificing his daughter in this whole like political intrigue situation, what's going on with the court and with Hamlet and all of this stuff. He's kind of calling Polonius out there. Then he goes and he wants the players to tell him this story about Troy and about King Priam and Queen Hecuba and kind of their loss of Troy. This is the loss of a kingdom of renown, and it's spoken about in the Aeneid, and that would be similar to maybe what Hamlet is thinking is happening in the kingdom of Denmark right now. And he's looking at, they're coming to the part that's going to be about Hecuba, who is the queen of Troy. So let's see what this part says. But remember, with Hamlet, he's very well read, and whenever he chooses things, he chooses them because they're meaningful. Again, this goes back to Shakespeare and what Shakespeare is always using in his plays.
Woe had seen the moblet queen.
The moblet queen.
That's good. Moblet queen is good.
Run barefoot up and down, threatening the flames with bison room, a clout upon that head where late the diadem stood, and for a robe about her lank and all o'er teemed loins, a blanket in the alarm of fear caught up. Who this had seen, with tongue in venom steeped, 'gainst fortune's state would treason have pronounced. But if the gods themselves did see her then, when she saw Pyrrhus make malicious sport in mincing with his sword her husband's limbs, the instant burst of clamor that she made, unless things mortal move them not at all, would have made milch the burning eyes of heaven, and passion in the gods.
Okay, so in this scene, this player is reading through the scene describing Hecuba seeing her husband Priam being killed and what that does to her as a human being. Probably there's a reason Hamlet requested this as the scene. And probably he's looking at the importance of it in a way that everyone else there isn't. Everyone else is just thinking, oh, this is a very tragic scene in a story. He's thinking, my mom didn't act that way when my father was killed by my uncle.
Look where he has not turned his colour and has tears in his eyes. Prithee no more.
'Tis well. I'll have thee speak out the rest of this soon. Good my lord, will you see the players well bestowed? Do you hear? Let them be well used, for they are the abstract and brief chronicles of the time. After your death, you were better have a bad epitaph than their ill report while you live.
My lord, I will use them according to their desert.
God's bodykins, man, much better. Use every man after his desert, and who shall scape whipping. Use them after your own honor and dignity. The less they deserve, the more merit is in your bounty. Take them in.
Come, sirs.
Follow him, friends. We'll hear a play tomorrow. Dost thou hear me, old friend? Can you play the murder of Gonzago?
Aye, my lord.
We'll have tomorrow night. You could, for a need, study a speech of some 12 or 16 lines which I would set down and insert into, could you not?
Aye, my lord.
Very well. Follow that lord, and look you, mock him not. My good friends, I'll leave you till night. You are welcome to Elsinore.
Good, my lord.
Aye, so, goodbye.
Okay. So he has just asked the head player if they can do a specific play, The Murder of Gonzago, which probably is going to be reminiscent of, it's going to somehow maybe be about a murder, right? And then he asked the player if he writes about 16 lines or so. So just like a short speech describing something, could he memorize it and read it? And the guy's like, oh yeah, for sure, no problem. Hamlet's planning on inserting something into their play, their performance, that will look a lot like what must have happened with his father's death. And that's what he's hoping that it will somehow show, like Claudius will maybe give away that he murdered his brother.
To you. Now I am alone. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit, that from her working all his visage wand, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing? For Hecuba? What's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? What would he do had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears, and cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty and appall the free, confound the ignorant and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy-mettled rascal peak like John a Dreams, unpregnant of my cause, and can say nothing. No, not for a king upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain? Breaks my pate across, plucks off my beard and blows it in my face, tweaks me by the nose, gives me the lie of the throat as deep as to the lungs. Who does me this? Huh? Swoons, I should take it, for it cannot be but I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter, or ere this I should have fatted all the region kites with this slave's awful, bloody body villain. Remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain! Oh, vengeance! Why, what an ass am I! This is most brave. That I, the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must, like a whore, unpack my heart with words, and fall a-cursing like a very drab, a stallion firebont, foe, about my brains. I have heard that guilty creatures sitting at a play have, by the very cunning of the scene, been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks. I'll tend him to the quick. If he do blench, I know my course. The spirit that I have seen may be a devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape, yea, and perhaps out of my weakness and my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play's the thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
Okay, so he goes through that whole situation. Everybody has left the scene, and he feels terrible. And part of why he feels so terrible is because this actor has just so profoundly teared up and just really shown such intense emotion. And Hamlet's thinking, man, I don't seem like that. If this guy had the tragedy in his life that I had, boy, what would he look like? You know, this is just a normal guy acting like he's sad. So that's crazy. You know, and then he's thinking about what can he do with these players? Can he get them to act something out that maybe he can finally get to the bottom of if his uncle was the reason that his father is dead. And so they're going to play this part, and he is hoping that this will be the means by which he's able to confront his uncle about killing his father. Okay, so that ends Act 2, Scene 2. Hope you enjoyed that. The next scene, we're going to do one scene this week from Act 3, and it is a pivotal one. So get ready for that. It's the one with the famous soliloquy in it. Okay, see you in a bit.